First things first, man.
Mhm.
Um,
Right. Go ahead. No, no, no,
all
no.
right,
Go
I
ahead.
guess we
We
can
gotta,
we can start with the.
we gotta do it.
I guess we got to, man. Everybody else is doing it. I guess we'll start with the slap. So, for people who haven't heard, at this year's Oscars, Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, that was in regards to her bald head, which she suffers from alopecia. And Will Smith went on stage, live television, in front of the world, slapped Chris Rock, sat back down, and the world's going crazy. Okay. First of all, man, let me ask you this because I'm already seeing this in the chat. Do you think it was real or staged? Because that was always the first question that people were asking.
I'm always 50-50 on those types of things. But there was something very emotionally sincere about the disdain on Jada's face that
Hmm.
makes me think otherwise. And just the look on her face makes me think otherwise.
Okay. Hold on, we're having some signal issues. Let's see. Okay, you look better now. Okay, so you said the look on Jada's face is what makes you
Yeah,
feel like it was genuine.
there was sincerity to that emotion in the moment.
Okay.
The way it kind of struck her. You know what I mean? You could see it emotionally strike her
You
different.
know what? I noticed that immediately when the joke was actually told. When
Yeah,
they panned out to Will and Jada, I was like, "Yo, Jada's not feeling this joke," because at the time Will was laughing, right? And
right.
then next thing you know, he's coming up, and what happened, and then my whole TV kind of like went blank. I guess because they're already on a delay or whatnot. And it's funny, we were just talking about award shows, and we're gonna get back to that, and the delays in live performance. And I told you guys last week. Now it's not gonna be able to go up there, do a performance, and do some rebel shit. They have delays on these things in case of these type of situations. So you better believe the Grammys is going to be policing this even extra heavy now. But one of the things that I took away from it, and I guess we can get into all the nuances and the aftermath of it and everything that people is talking about based on the events that took place. But
Mhm.
the fact that Jada just sat there throughout the whole thing and watched it like the rest of us is, what is really striking to me. Um, Cause man, if I would have done something like that, man, Dana would have been stopping me the whole way. You remember when Kanye went up there and said what he said, during Taylor Swift's award, and he said that Beyonce, made the greatest video of all time. They panned to Beyonce. She's like, "Oh my God, no, Kanye, sit down." You know what I mean? Like there was none of that.
Right.
And so that's interesting to me. It's one thing that, one person may have lost their cool in the moment, but that's why we have each other to kind of, yo, chill, man, cool, it's not worth it. And even when he sat back down and he was yelling and cursing and all that, she wasn't like, Will, chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I found that very, very interesting. And I found it interesting that nobody's talking about that.
So let's unpack a couple things. This is what I mean about the sincerity of her emotional reaction. Well, y'all were front and center because, like most people kind of had figured and was projected, well, he's about to win Best Actor. And so they have y'all front and center for a reason. And they're going to be flashing to you all night. And so I say this, and I kind of want to say this like carefully. It's like, well, this is his night, and she had a major part to play in it going awry with her reaction in real time. Because, Mike, they're actors and actresses. What do they do for a living? They put on for the camera. And so, even though she might have been offended, and even though the hair issues, I mean, and we can start unpacking, hair issues just with black women in our culture and the beautification of white women's hair in this culture too, as well, if you'd like. because that's part of the sensitivity issue of it. But this is also a classically trained actress whose husband is about to win Best Actor. She couldn't have held face and they couldn't have thrown hands backstage like 5 minutes later.
And even if she
Like she
felt,
could.
this is what I'm gonna say.
I'm
I,
just asking questions. I'm
I
just asking
feel like I
questions.
feel like this, and to piggyback off what you're saying, I feel like if Jaden, their son, was in that same place, the mother and her would have stopped him from going on stage.
Ooh, that's strong.
I
I
believe
like that.
that. I truly believe
Mhm.
the mother and her, if this was Jaden or Willow in Will's situation in that moment, I feel like the mother and her would have stopped their child from going on stage. Now we
I
have
think
no way
that's
of knowing that, but I'm just saying.
yeah.
When it comes to, like you said, putting on, and even if you were offended in that moment, you understand the greater good for the person that you care about.
Mhm.
Because even
So
if
there,
somebody would have talked slick about my mom in front of me or whatever, and then I go try to, whoop their ass, whatever, my mom's gonna be like, no, don't do that.
right. Well, there's also too like, well, there comes when you've been with somebody and you know somebody, like you know when they've had enough,
Mm-hmm.
or anybody else knows that they've had enough. And so it's the kind of co-signage of it too that I'm also like, bringing into question. It's like, it's like, no, 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 you should know him better than anybody else. And if that's out of his character and he's getting out of character, you should be the first person to emotionally be able to recognize that. Because here's the thing. Oh, he emotionally realized what happened to you and did something about it immediately because he is obviously, to be quite frank, he's fed up with being the punching bag of the jokes and being a
Exactly.
nice guy to everybody.
Exactly.
Will's from Philly. And when people are talking about the slap and how they would have thrown a punch and it's like, first of all, no, you probably wouldn't, for
No, no,
one.
no, no. Let's
Everybody,
rewind there because Nipsey Hussle
like,
slapped somebody at the BET Awards, and we was like rah rah whatever victory slap blah blah blah.
right, didn't Raekwon like open hand slap Joe Budden once?
Yeah,
Right, and no issue was raised about that. But when Will does it, you see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, well, that's a soft move, and it's this, that, and the other. Like, and not to be funny, you want to know what I thought about when I saw it? I thought about Snoop Dogg's diss record to
pimp
Suge.
slap,
What's it called?
pimp
Pimp
slap.
slap.
It's the
Pimp
most
slap.
disrespectful thing you can do, and
Next to spitting,
it's like,
spitting and
look,
then slapping. It's the
yeah,
S's: spit, slap, stomp, disrespect.
yeah. And so you're gonna disrespect my wife, then I'm gonna, slap you. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not co-signing anything that Will did, but I'm just saying, as a man, I understand. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say what somebody shouldn't have done in the moment. Now, what I will say though, and I'm not sitting here blaming this, that, and the third. When people lose their cool, they lose their cool. But people around them who haven't lost their cool, it's on them to make sure that, yo, man, chill out, calm them down for a second, especially when it's a person that the joke was initially about. Now, there was two opportunities that Jada had here. Let's just say she missed the opportunity to stop him, when he went up there and actually slapped Chris Rock. That's one thing. But when he came and sat down and he's still cursing, there's no camera angle or anything that caught her like, Will, chill out. You know what I'm saying? And he did it twice.
Right. And so I'm speaking to the fact it's like, well, don't tell me you don't know. And so let's speak some proof to life right quick. There was once upon a time in my life where one of my dear friends, who's still a dear friend of mine to this day, and he used to be my roommate once upon a time, a long time ago when we were much younger. He came to me one day and he was like, Coop, I'm not comfortable with you having a gun right now because of how you were behaving. Because I'm afraid something is going to happen to you because of how you are behaving. I want you to put your gun away and keep it in the house from now on and stop riding around with your gun. Because he's seen how I was behaving. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And him being close to me and knowing how I behave when I feel a certain type of way, he was like, oh, no, 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 let me go ahead and put a stop to that before that even starts. And that's why I'm saying, like, where's that in the most important moment of his career?
Spliff Spark says, no, it's on Will to regulate himself like a man. Listen, I agree with that, but let's
A
not
union,
act
they're
like
one.
Will hasn't
No,
done
no, no.
that over the past 30 years. He's a human being. There's a time when anybody can lose their cool. And Spliff Spark, I'm pretty sure there's a time in the history of your life where you've lost your cool. None of us are perfect. Like, even the most chilled,
And that,
logical people get to a point where they're fed up. It happens.
and that's the other part of this that I don't like. Where's like where this holier than thou thing where people been acting like they never put their hands on somebody else.
Right.
I'm not that person that's about to come up here and say that. It's like I told you, Mike, behind the scenes. It's like, man, I was like, I can't say shit. I was like, I'm put my hands on so many people and had so many people put their hands on me in some sort of form of confrontation. It's like, who am I?
No, you're
Like,
right.
who
It's
am I?
like that Monday morning quarterback and everybody acting like ain't nobody ever been in a fight before. Now, I get it. Will's 50 years old, but see, again, the thing is, people put celebrities on such a pedestal like they're superhuman to, for lack of a better term. They're more than human and they're above what average people do. No, they're human just like everybody else.
Right. So let's address like the elephant in the room, and this is what I mean. It's like, oh, I see mental health issues going on. It's like, damn, like we'll need to talk to somebody, like real shit,
Yeah.
like therapy, because obviously all these things that have come out about the inner workings of his marriage and his personal life and his wife and all the coverage and all the years of being the punching bag and considered to be the soft rapper just because he doesn't curse and has a big movie career and a big sitcom, which in any other ethnicity would be like greatness would be bestowed upon him like tenfold, but up here he's a soft ass nigga. We so backwards, I swear. We are. We're so backwards and
Well, we,
basic.
we
So,
could have a whole show
right,
on
we
that
be
and
trying to
how.
justify shit. But anyway, I say all of that to say that, like, he's been holding and playing this face card for over 3 decades.
Can he get credit for that at least, people?
Right. Like, Mike, I
You've
don't
never
have
even
any.
seen, we've never even seen Will Smith get a speeding ticket.
Mike,
You know
I
what I'm
barely have.
saying? In this crazy industry of Hollywood where people get caught with all kind of drugs, all kind of shit. Will hasn't even had a speeding ticket that we know
Man, Mike, we talking about 3 decades of good behavior, not 30
Yeah,
days.
man. He been on the scene since '87, man. Shout out to Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat. He says, "I think Will had a snap moment, and is fed up with the public disrespect. He's eaten this award. He's eaten this award season. Every show he's won, and he's been dissed. You know what?
Oh,
This is
see,
one
that's
thing
what I'm
too.
saying.
Go ahead.
So hold on. That's what I'm saying. So, see, because he's taken it for so long, it's part of the catalog when he comes along. It's part of the
Mm-hmm.
script. Throw some shade because Will's gonna be able to take it. It's gonna be okay.
You're
And
right.
Will like, nah, nigga, I'm from West Philly. Officially not okay anymore. You want to get that ass whooped next time? Because I tell you what, like people acting like, oh, he slapped him. It's like, man, do you know how big like Will Smith is in relationship to Chris Rock and how quick he rolled up on him? He really could have threw him a fade if he wanted to. You know what I'm
Straight up.
saying? Like if he wanted to fade him right there, he would have faded.
Shout out to a pimp named Slickback with the super chat. He said there are thousands, if not millions, of black men in the cemetery defending their woman in honor. Fellas, think before you act emotionally. I think that's an interesting point, and that's a fair
No,
point.
no, no,
But
no. This is his wife. No. This is his wife of almost 2 decades.
yeah,
No, brother. Like you the one that's backwards.
but this is the
Like you
thing.
need,
When you
no.
talk
You need
about
to
your wife,
fundamentally understand what it means for
yeah,
somebody to like be married and joined to you and what it means.
yeah,
Don't come in here talking that you
you
talking
got to be
backwards. This
willing.
is that backwards basic shit I'm talking about.
You got to be willing to die for your wife and your kids. I'm sorry. And I
Period.
know that for some people that might be toxic masculinity and all kind of bullshit that I've been hearing on different media outlets and the male patriarchy and this and that. Listen, man, if you're not willing and ready to sit there and die for your wife and kids, what are you here for?
I mean, it literally says like it's almost biblical that you're supposed to protect even more than you're supposed to love. You understand that, like as a man.
Exactly. But we getting a bunch of super chats now. Shout out to LP with the super chat. He says
Yeah.
not gonna be around and not sure if y'all reviewing the Fife album. I listened to the Fife album, but
Yeah, I
Fife's
did.
mom painted a better picture of a good kid, Mad. K. I'm sorry, GKMD in one of the songs than K. Dot's whole album. Oh, okay, good kid, Mad City. Yeah. All right, yeah, we're gonna talk about the Fife. We might save that one for Friday. And Jason with the super chat says, "What y'all think about Benny versus Freddie Gibbs?" We're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna get to that in a second. I was thinking we might start with that, but we'll start with this.
We
Blue
can go
Collar
with
Hustler says, "Will told us 17 years ago that all that disrespect was bothering him, and a guy in 2005 surprised he took this long to react." He said, check Mr. Nice Guy in 2005. Surprised it took this long for him to react. Everybody has their breaking point, and everybody has their boiling point. And normally, let's just keep it real. Your wife, disrespecting someone's wife in front of their face is pretty much everybody's boiling point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so when this brother's sitting up there talking about, oh, there's plenty of brothers in the grave from standing up for, no, that's not a woman. That's his wife.
Yeah, exactly. And someone is saying what I keep seeing out there, it's a joke. It's not death or it's not a life or death situation. I agree with that, but we got to keep that consistent as well because just because they went and dug up a whole bunch of Kevin Hart jokes from years and years ago, they canceled him from hosting that same exact show. It's just jokes, right?
I mean, Mike, let's say we were big stars and like you and Dana were front row and like we were all sitting waiting to get in the war according to hip hop. And somebody like were to say something inappropriate, like to her publicly, and everybody were to hear it. Emotionally, I would check on you and be like, hey, like, are you okay? And then I would be like, so which one of us is going to catch the charge and bail each other out tonight? Because we about to go handle this motherfucker as soon as these cameras go off.
I think a lot of people,
everybody needs to stop acting like they don't even think that way in the moment, like it be some kumbaya. Like no, that's not how you think in that moment.
You know what's interesting to me is a lot of people who are already and are already on some rah shit. They talking down on this like it's just beyond. And I think the reason why is because of who it is and where it was done at. Now, if you sit here and make this a blanket situation, or if it was Ray Ray or whatever at the comedy club and it happened, no one's outraged. But since it's Will Smith at the Oscars, then that's just traumatizing. Amy Schumer's out here talking about she's still triggered and traumatized from this event. You've never seen a fucking fight in your life, Amy Schumer? Let's be real.
First of all, sit your ass down. Nobody invited you to the barbecue. She's the only name I got written in the notes other than Amy Schumer, Will Smith, and Nas at the Grammys. I'm like, what is wrong with white people? This is why this is why we don't trust them, because they come out and say stupid shit like this, and it's like I was traumatized. Shut up.
So now y'all scared of Will Smith, huh? Y'all think Will Smith gonna come out and slap you, huh?
Yeah,
well, if you don't say anything about his wife's hair, then
And for all these black elitists like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar coming down on Will Smith today, it's like y'all are the worst because y'all are the ones that are, supposed to be insulating him and protecting him right now. And instead of doing that, y'all are eradicating his 3 decades of good service with your diatribes and your epitaphs about his situation.
Yeah.
Like you won't whoop a nigga's ass for disrespecting your wife.
I've seen Kareem whoop somebody's ass on court. I mean, I have. I see Michael Sanders saying that the joke wasn't disrespectful. I mean, again, we've seen Will Smith take a lot of jokes over the years. I think that this one, let's just be honest. It has something to do with the actual individual who was telling the joke. Because Chris Rock has a long history of, for whatever reason, going in on Jada Pinkett Smith.
Right.
And I don't know this, who knows, but I would imagine if Will felt this strongly about this man saying his wife's name, he's been warned about this before.
Even if he hadn't been, you just got your warning.
Yeah.
There go your warning.
And then he said live on stage, I'll keep her name out my mouth. Okay.
Glad
Cool.
we got that. Look, I'm glad that we got that taken care of.
And Joe Bro says, so smashing his wife ain't disrespectful. Well, listen,
No,
it's clear that they have a clear, open situation, and they have an understanding about that. Whether people, want to agree with that or not, it didn't seem like Will was too surprised when the news came out. They knew these things. And even August Alsina said himself that he got Will's permission to do so. So whatever they got going on, that's on them. But this wasn't warranted. It is what it is. And when you do things that aren't warranted, you can't tell people how to react to them. If I say something to you that you don't like, I can't tell you how to react to that. I mean, I can't. I could hope that you react in the way that I think you should. But, I don't know, man. I think maybe internet culture and comment section culture kind of got people tripping, where it's like you think you can say anything to anybody and nothing's going to happen. That's not the real world, unfortunately.
It's not. It's not how it works.
In the physical world here, you say something, whether you think it's warranted or not, somebody might do something. It is what it is.
Right. We'll move to the next thing.
Yeah, let me get to the super chats real quick before we go on to the next thing, because we could be on this forever. Blue Collar Hustle says, there's a cultural difference between us and them. That Will slap wouldn't have been anything in a black space, because we know wives are off limits. That's an interesting point.
Thank you.
And Ray Rim says, the worst thing about crossing the line is when you don't know, you already have. Huh?
Well, I mean, see, that's the thing. Chris Rock's type of comedy, too, especially how he freestyles live, like a lot of great comedians do. Oh, what's the Dave habitual line stepper? Oh, yeah, Chris Rock is a habitual line stepper.
Yeah.
He will cross the line habitually.
A pimp named Slipback says, y'all mentioned the Bible. The Bible said an adulterous wife should be stoned. So let's keep it consistent since we're pulling the Bible out.
I mean, well, since you're pulling the Bible out, that way of actually dealing with people actually got eradicated through the blood of Christ. So read the Bible from beginning to end. Thank you. Next.
All right. You know what? Let's talk about this Benny and Freddie thing, man.
Yeah.
Even though, a lot of us want us to kind of skip this commentary or this subject, because, I never want to act like I'm heightening up any kind of beef, especially with individuals that we know are on, on some real rap shit, right? For lack of a better term. They make great music together. Yeah. I don't really know how this kind of blew all the way up to this point without them being able to talk through it or talk about it, but it sounds like Freddie Gibbs is gearing up to drop a diss record at the end of the week. What do you think about this whole back and forth between Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher?
So this is what I mean about, so let's look at this. People look at somebody like Will Smith and Chris Rock and they're like, oh, is that stage? But guys who have been making classic records together for like the last 2, 3, 4 years, solid, rift and we don't know why. And there's a beef going on. And we don't talk about that potentially being staged. So, A, we don't know how valid this is just yet.
Right.
Because like you said, we live in media where like people kind of take shots via the internet and all these cheap things get your likes up, get your streams up, get people hyped up, get people anticipated. And battle is part of the culture.
It is.
And when handled properly, great for the culture. As far as the reasons and the rationale for it, and this is just like back pages talk. It seems like, and I was told this, that like Gibbs's manager, Westside, got into some words over the internet last summer over a comment that I think Gibbs' manager had made. I about him dropping, being the only nigga around that dropped like 2 classic albums in 1 year, something like that. And I think Westside took offense to that. Obviously, given the run that he had lately, specifically in 2020, dropping 3 albums, they're all pretty well received, critically acclaimed. Pray for Paris, obviously being what it was. And then there was also some talk possibly that Benny's camp didn't love how Freddie wasn't around as much when Benny had got shot. And so those are just some of the rumblings that have been really nothing solid.
LP has a comment about it on the super chat. He says it started when Benny put out his tour dates and didn't have Houston on it, and Freddie said dudes don't go to shows, they get robbed at. Huh. Blue Collar Hustler says Freddie another one who is a habitual line stepper. Yeah, and that's kind of right on cue. You kind of don't make light of situations like that. That's definitely a touchy and sensitive subject anyway. Because again, anybody could be touched, like nobody out here is bulletproof. And so that's a traumatizing experience for anybody, what I'm saying, regardless of how macho anybody comes across. So yeah, to make light of a situation like that, I could understand that being a problem if everything that's being said is accurate. I just hope they work it out, man, because again, I think they're two dope artists that hip hop needs to know more about. And I know you were saying that we need to see how official it is. I hope it's not even really. I hope it's staged. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? And I hope it stays to the music because those guys make really good quality music, and I love what Freddie's been able to contribute to some of these Griselda releases too. So.
Yeah, I like the work that he does with Griselda, like the entire camp. I think he fits in he fits into their camp to me very much in the same way that Redman and Nas kind of fit into Wu-Tang in different ways. It's like, oh yeah, like he fit, like both of those guys, didn't it seem when they got with them, it's like, yeah, but they fit right into what those guys do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In different ways. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's
them,
not too much to talk about when it comes to this. I mean, I guess we'll be waiting for the records and a resolution. Hopefully, hopefully somebody like a Rick Ross, step in and be able to kind of get these guys on the same page and clear up whatever. Because like I said, we all human and people make mistakes and say things that they shouldn't say, and some things are, as y'all said earlier, just jokes, but taken to the wrong extent. So
right, and not to be funny, Mike. I mean, I don't think people understand like the subculture of rap now for artists like from city to city, who you don't know and what they do and how they move. Like Gibbs could have been making a comment about somebody locally for the town or the city that he was in from information he could have caught on the wire. You feel what I'm saying? That could have not even been for Benny necessarily like that, and Benny could have took that a certain type of way. It could have not even been meant for him. And Gibbs and Gibbs got the type of mind frame where he might be like, well, that wasn't even meant for you, but since you want some smoke, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, shit gets out of control, man, and it's like it's one of those things where the miscommunication can lead to a whole lot. I mean, we saw that and I hate to continue to go back to this situation, but it's the most notable one in hip hop, the Pac and Biggie thing. I think if they would have had clear communication at a certain point, things could have leveled out to some degree.
Yeah.
But it was all fun and games for these publications at the time, and they were running with stories, and it was just heightening things even more.
Right. So, no. It's a case study on how not to handle these things.
Oh, definitely. We have that case study, and hip hop is very, you don't have to be a historian to know what could have been saved there. I think I remember Russell Simmons saying something like he was, he wishes that he would have handled it different.
Damn right. I bet you everybody feel that way. It's too late for that shit though. So, yeah, I ain't even trying to hear that shit now. This thing with the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Why everybody was there live to go on. Right.
There were a lot. Listen, there were a lot of people that were veterans in the game that saw what was going on, and they were older and elders, and they could have done
No.
something.
Now there are some people that did try to talk to Pop. Like
Hmm.
Ice-T, I believe, and Chuck D tried to talk to Pop.
Yeah,
So it's like, but
yeah,
you know,
it's
like I
tough.
said, case study.
It's tough.